Right then, young players everywhere, actually, not just at Manchester United, but young players everywhere generally only get their chance when somebody is injured. Rarely is a young player planned on introduced into the squad. What happens is a senior player gets injured, give the kid a chance and see what he's got. And United have got an opportunity with that at the moment because Harry Amass is poised to take his chance with Luke Shaw being injured. Luke Shaw came off against Aston Villa. The injury supposedly not too bad, but he came off as a precaution. Initial tests have shown that it looks quite good for him, but there's a real possibility that he might miss some action, and even if he does return, you might need some cover on the bench. And if you're looking at our options at left back, well, Harry Amass is the only pick. He's the only available natural left back. Lindelof was turned inside out against Aston Villa. It's not really Amrabat's natural position. Is it worth bringing Amass up and giving him 5-10 minutes? Give him that life-changing opportunity and see if he can step up? You never know. This is often how young players get their opportunity, and then if they're good enough, they can take their chance. Now, Amass was only born in 2007, which is a madness. In London, he's from London, and he came through at Watford. United swooped in the summer to bring him in, beating competition from Chelsea for him. And he's featured consistently for the under-18s, and the under-18s, which have gone on this incredible run so far this season. They did draw at the weekend. It was always going to come to an end, wasn't it? They was never going to have a flawless, perfect season, but they're still undefeated. 1 draw and 14 wins. They're doing quite well. And he's been a staple of our attacking and our defensive effort. He's a modern fullback. He is comfortable attacking and defending, and he is thriving in that youth setup, proving key in that high-pressing, transitional playing style that they've got. He's really adept at inverting. He's really adept at stepping into midfield, and he seems to make the appropriate overlapping and underlapping runs for his wingers. Strengths-wise, I would say athleticism is the first thing that you look at with Amass. He's got explosive pace. He's extremely athletic. He's excellent in recovery. Stamina is there for the full 90 minutes. And then, as you would expect, we touched on this when we spoke about the class of 92. There's not really anybody at Manchester United Academy. You know, it does happen, but it doesn't really happen too often. The technical ability is usually extremely high with people in the Manchester United Academy. And I would say the technical ability and the crossing of Harry Amass is bang on there. His ability to find a cross is genuinely quality. The word pinpoint has been thrown around, and I think that's exactly what you should call it. This isn't Trent with the volume. This is pinpoint. This is, I'm going to put it there, you get on the end of it. And that technical ability is what you'd come to expect of a left-back coming through, you know, one of the best academies in the world. But another thing which stands out is the mentality. And I don't think you can't rule this kid's dedication to the cause out. He looks the part completely. He's very mature, even though he's extremely young. He reads the game well. He appears to be a bit of a leader, and he's only been here 6 months. That's what the mentality. Yes, the technical ability. Yes, the athleticism. But what can separate a decent young player to one that goes on and makes it, in my opinion, is mentality. And Amass has that, or he appears to have that. Obviously, the step up from the 18s to the first team is quite vast, but the mentality to me seems like it's there. Now, he's got to have weaknesses, right? Yes, there's obviously weaknesses. Now, I would say aerial duels. I think one of the criticisms that would be completely fair, and it's often a lot of young defenders, is the lack of physicality they display when it comes to the aerial duels. Even in the academy, he's often second best in the aerial battles, and that definitely needs to be ironed out of his game if he's going to make consistent Premier League starts. Teams like Luton, who are extremely well drilled from set plays, would absolutely climb all over him in this area, and we could get punished with that. So that's a weakness that you've got to be aware of. Second one is experience, and there's no substitute for experience. You've just got to go and play. And it's obviously the most easy one to throw at him. He's got a lack of experience. He's young. He hasn't had the opportunity yet. But it could cause some issues for him as he steps into the first team. You've got to try and rack up as much experience wherever and whenever you can, whether that means going out on loan, being around the first team in training, or even just getting off the bench as often as you can. That first team experience, playing against men, is absolutely invaluable for a fullback, especially like Amass. He's going to need it. Now, he might not get the opportunity to. He might just get flung in and it's sink or swim time. But the experience, like it or not, and you can't really fix it without just giving him the experience, is he needs experience. And there'll be things in his game that his learning curve will go like that if he plays 2, 3, 4 Premier League games, minimum. And then I would say defensive positioning. He's still learning the trade of a left-back, and sometimes he can get caught out, especially in defensive transition. He's in such a dominant team at the moment. United are 14 wins, 1 draw in 15. Ridiculous level of consistency that team is displaying. And they're quite entertaining. They don't keep a ton of clean sheets. They trade blows with teams. They get after it. And they get after it because, well, sometimes the fullbacks switch off. Like, I think he's defensively sound, but an experienced attacker is going to peel off him at the moment where he maybe inverts or underlaps or something like that, and they're going to hurt you. A clever run from an experienced pro is going to really hurt Manchester United, unless Amass comes into the team and his instructions are just defend. Today, just defend. We're going to get through this first 90. You're just going to defend. If we get 2 goals up, you can start helping us look for a third, but you're just going to defend today. And maybe that, again, is something that comes in tandem with the previous point on experience. He doesn't have the experience. So when you're playing youth football, a lot of the time you are told to go and express yourself, go and push the envelope a little bit. The stakes are far higher when it's a Premier League game and you're trying to qualify for the Champions League. So maybe we would see him automatically switch to being a little bit more focused and a little bit more safety first with his runs. But right now, I can only call what I see. And right now, I see a young man that loves getting forward and sometimes gets caught out. So I have to talk about it as a potential weakness. Now, in terms of the future, he is raw. But he could genuinely be world class. The only way he's going to get there is by racking up the experience as soon as he can. There will be a pathway to the first team. People are still a little bit unsure on Luke Shaw, which is madness. It's been here 10 years, but people are still a little bit unsure on what's going on with Luke Shaw. So there is a pathway there. Luke Shaw's age means that, you could send Amass out on loan for a year or even 2. If Luke Shaw doesn't quite get fit or he's in and out of the team like he has been all this season, then Amass could rack up a little bit of experience and prove himself capable of being United's first choice left back just purely out of necessity. Rarely does a player get the opportunity to be just given opportunities because we've seen what you've done in the academy and we like you. What happens is someone gets injured, someone gets suspended, something goes wrong, and then you get given an opportunity. It's up to you to take it. Now, time will tell if Amass can go and do that. Not every player with the level of potential that he's showing does go on eventually show that potential. But there's a lot, and I mean a lot, to like about Amass. And I think he could be good enough to play for the first team. It might not just be yet, and he could just potentially fill in. He'll certainly do a better job than Lindelof did against Aston Villa, I think. But there is a player there, and we might be seeing him very soon. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you in a bit. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.